Hello and welcome to our presentation about the formation of Malaysia. We all together make group number 2. And here you can see our table of content.
Throughout its history, Malaysia faced a communist insurgency, but strong leadership, effective tactics, and development programs helped it resist communism. The Malaysian Communist Party aimed to overthrow the government with support from China and the Soviet Union. Malaysia responded with a comprehensive counterinsurgency plan, strengthening security forces and implementing the Hearts and Minds campaign. The leadership of Tunku Abdul Rahman united different ethnic groups and stabilized the nation. Economic growth and the new economic policy reduced poverty and weakened the appeal of communism. Malaysia's success demonstrates the importance of leadership, governance, and socio-economic development in ensuring security and progress.
In 1957, the Federation of Malaya gained independence from British colonial rule. The leaders of Malaya, along with Sabah, Sarawak, Brunei, and Singapore, formed Malaysia in 1963. The objective was to achieve a regional integration, collective development, and increase the stability. Although there were some challenges in Malaysia's formation, the territories brought together in Malaysia had diverse cultures and historical backgrounds. Despite the geographical proximity, they had different political objectives and varying economic levels. These differences led to internal disagreements and also tensions. That came to the release of Sabah and Sarawak. Both are located on the island of Borneo and serve greater autonomy within Malaysia. And the concerns over the dominance of the peninsula Malaysia and the resource management led to their separation in 1965. Brunei's decision for full sovereignty. Brunei initially considered joining Malaysia, but later decided against it. And the Sultanate was concerned about its political and economic independence. Brunei's oil reserves provided the necessary resources for maintaining these independence. Singapore faced some challenges related to the size and the economic disparities and the multi-ethnic composition. They had some disagreements in economic policies and political representation, which led to their exclusion in 1965. Singapore pursued its own path towards economic development and multicultural harmony. Although the acknowledgement of difference from Malaysia was very good, Malaysia recognized and respected the aspirations of the territories. And the decision to release these territories reflected a commitment to self-determination and diverse identities. Overall, the formation of Malaya faced significant challenges due to the diverse background of the territories, and Sabah, Sarawak, Brunei, and Singapore's release from Malaysia was a result of complex dynamics and diverse and divergent expectations. Malaysia's willingness to acknowledge and respect these differences highlighted its commitment to unity and also diversity.
Malaysia has made impressive progress in its economic development. The country has prioritized inclusive growth, ensuring that all members of society benefit from economic advancements. To achieve this goal, Malaysia has implemented policies and programs directed towards reducing income disparities and promoting widespread access to the rewards of economic progress for every citizen. These policies and programs foster inclusive growth, equitable economic practices, regulations of necessary goods price, social security coverage and welfare programs, support for foreign investment, and empowerment of small and medium enterprises. All these efforts collectively create an environment that enables the fair distribution of economic benefits among all citizens in Malaysia.
Hello everyone, my name is Chen Ke. I'm from Group 2. Today I'm going to talk about defending the right of the Aboriginal community in Sabah and Sarawak. As we all know, Malaysia is a country with many different races of people. For example, like Malaysians, Chinese, and Indians. Because of too much races, so that the uneven economic distribution. Although Aboriginal have historically accounted for the majority of Malaysia's population, it's about 65%. But at last century, they only held 4% of the economic. So that's why we need to make a law to defending the right of the Aboriginal community in Sabah and Sarawak. And that's all. Thank you for listening.
Protecting the interests and rights of the Burmese. What's the word Burmese stand for? The term Burmese refers to the Malaysian native inhabitants, which also include Orient Elisa, Malaysia, and Norris in the indigenous group in Sabah and Sarawak. Some measures taken by the Malaysia government to protect the indigenous people. The government issued a series of laws. The government has designed a virtual reserve to protect their lands and resources. The government used the New Economic Place (NEP), a flag exchange strategy. Suggestion for some ways to protect indigenous people. Strengthen the protection of infraction construction to prevent detention, rents, and interest for being damaged. Provide some job for the Burmese so that they can have a basic material life. Record-driven development. The government protection of the Burmese is to protect the monetary record development of Malaysia. This is a very circle. Promote communication between rights and share multilateralism.
The Carbon Commission is a proceed from early 1960 to 1963 due to the unfortunate precedent of the Central African Federation, created against the will of the majority of Africa in the early 1950s. It was in the final stages of collapse by 1961. There is a real sense of responsibility and a desire to track the best course for those about to be released into potentially hostile local environments. On 17th January 1962, there is a commission named Carbon Commission Publicity, Liberty and Justice for All. The purpose of this commission is to explore the views of communities in Sabah and Sarawak on the idea of Malaysia. They created a report from February to April 1962 with the purpose to investigate the perception of different groups of the public towards the formation of Malaysia. The result of this report is most often supports the formation of Malaysia. In June 1962, the British government and the government of the Federation of Malaya agreed to accept nearly all of the recommendations made by the Commission. According to the report, this Secretary of State for Commonwealth Relations and Secretary of State for the Colonies highlighted several provisions. On 9th July 1963, this Malaysia Agreement was signed, spelled out in the 20-point requirements raised by Sabah and 18-point by Sarawak. The agreement sought to protect the interests, rights, and autonomy of the people of the two states after the formation of Malaysia.
After considering the report of the Intergovernmental Committee 1962 and the arrangement between the Malayan and the Singapore governments, the British and Malayan governments decided in principle to form Malaysia by 31st August 1963, but it must go through the necessary legislative procedures. The two governments decided to set up an intergovernmental committee that included the representatives from the governments of the UK, Malaya, North Brunei, and Sarawak. The committee was tasked with the formulation of future constitutional arrangements, including safeguarding the special interests of North Brunei and Sarawak, and the arrangements covering issues like religious freedom, education, representations in federal parliament, status of ingredient races, immigration controls, censorship, and finalization of the state constitutions.
On the 9th of August 1965, Singapore became an independent state after splitting from Malaysia. The reason for the separation was due to governmental and racial issues that have started riots that have ended with bad outcomes. During the time between the referendum and right before the separation of Singapore, racial riots began, which ended with violence and clashing of Malaysian and Chinese citizens, which during that time led to the continuation of racial riots that have killed more than 23 people and injured around 500 people.
Appropriated things. Malaysia is a multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multilingual country. So there are many different things that represent the formation of Malaysia. Among them, I think there are two things that are most important. The first is race. There are many races in Malaysia. There are three main races, of which the Malay indigenous people are the most. The Malaysia Chinese are the second, and the Indians are the least. Because there are so many different races, there will be many languages, mainly Malay, English, and Chinese. The second is religion. Malaysia has many religions. There are many churches. Different races believe in different religions. This multiculturalism coexists in harmony, tolerance, and mutual respect, which is the unique social fabric of Malaysia. It has also made Malaysia a diverse country with a wide variety of festivals, customs, and cultural events. In short, the model country, the influence of various religions, and the multi-ethnic structure are all important factors in the formation of Malaysia.